Hello and welcome to This Week in the News. A job advertisement from a Chinese grocery store seeking cashiers between the ages of 18 and 30 has triggered a flood of social media posts and made global news. In China, there is not a specific law against age discrimination, although state media last year criticized employers for discriminatory hiring practices, including seeking younger and cheaper workers in what they're widely referring to as the quote curse of 35. Anyone who doubts the curse's potency only has to look at the countless online job listings and recruitment sites that explicitly state that candidates should be no older than 35. But it's not just work where Chinese 30 somethings are feeling discriminated against. Last June, a traveler complained that hostels in Beijing commonly turn away customers older than 35. And during that same period of time, a recruitment drive by a Taoist temple said that new monks must be under 35 years old. Even the Chinese government rules out candidates over 35 in certain civil servant positions. And that law was actually challenged by a lawmaker last year during the annual gathering of Chinese politicians and political advisors. Moving on to Europe, ageism shows up in strange ways. In Dublin, a woman was told she was too old to apply for a student discount on her gym membership. She sued and won. Ms. Fitzpatrick had been a member of her local gym for about 14 years when she went back to school and became a full-time student. When she went to the gym administrator asking to switch her membership to a student membership and showed them her student ID card for verification, she was told she was ineligible because she was more than 25 years old. The fact that Fitzpatrick was asked to pay the full membership rate, despite her being a full-time student, is discrimination on the grounds of age. The gym was ordered to pay her 3,000 euros in compensation. This reminds me of an employment ad I saw for a senior project manager in Lisbon, Portugal, asking that candidates not be more than 35 years old. And an ad was shared on LinkedIn by Stephanie Braga of a job posting that she took a picture of when she was visiting Spain. The ad asked for applicants to be between the ages of 20 and 29. Back in the US, a couple of weeks ago, Age Equity Alliance's board member Mike Kurth sent me a New York Times article on the increasing homelessness for older people. I shared that article on LinkedIn with a call to action for employers to take notice of the impact of workplace ageism. The US Census Bureau reports that poverty is increasing rapidly for those 65 and older. And that's what happens when people lose their job in their 50s and no one will rehire them. They can't pay their mortgage, they end up selling their home, their cars, they rack up outrageous credit card bills trying to put food on the table. The stress of financial ruin actually can cause sickness. By the time they're 65, they have nothing left but Social Security and a mountain of debt. What really brought this message home from the post I made on LinkedIn was the people who commented on the thread and reached out to me personally to share their joblessness and their fears of being unable to stay in a home. Miller Canning wrote, I am constantly on the brink of homelessness. This year will be the third rental I need to find because owners are selling or jacking the rent up way beyond what I can afford. Karen Gentile wrote that she was laid off from her 22-year career in the broadcast industry 7 years ago, 2 days before her 51st birthday. She wrote, I've been working in survival jobs ever since. I'm fortunate that I don't have a mortgage or car payment, but I do have bills to pay and I'm forced to withdraw money from my IRA just to have an emergency fund. I've been dealing with unemployment and underemployment for 7 years now. I'm now working 16 hours a week at my current job, and I'm at the point where I'm looking to doing app work as a dog walker, pet sitter, just to pay the bills. Simon Long wrote, speaking as someone who was out of work in the job hunting wilderness for over a year, aged 55, the impact of age-related job loss goes far beyond financial hardship. The stress of financial insecurity can trigger severe health problems, creating a vicious cycle that damages the well-being of individuals, families, and ultimately our society as a whole. Surely the time has come to shatter outdated stereotypes about older workers, he wrote. Employers who overlook this talent pool due to age bias are not only doing a disservice to those individuals, but also missing out on a significant competitive and socially impactful opportunity. End quote. But for those with an entrepreneurial spirit, losing employment in your 50s doesn't have to be a disaster. Lori Jo Vest shared that she and her husband both lost their jobs in their 50s. Fortunately, they had the skills and experience to build an entrepreneurial venture together. But she wrote, "It's not easy, and I can't fathom what would have happened had we had to look for jobs." We need employers who get it, like Tom Hunt, for example, who posted Sunday on LinkedIn that he too once held stereotypical views of older workers until he hired one. He wrote, quote, "I hired someone over 55. I kept thinking, he's overqualified. He won't fit in our culture. He won't understand our offering. But I did it." Tom went on to say, "This hire was an absolute pleasure to work with and made a huge difference in his business." Then Tom did exactly what we need more of. He made a call to action to other employers when he wrote, "Employers, if you want good talent, consider, quote, overqualified candidates. Hiring managers are looking for a 20-year-old with 25 years of experience. This needs to change. All that matters is if the candidate, one, has the skills to do the job, and two, aligns with the values of the business. Let's stop age discrimination." End quote. Tom's post has more than 14,000 reactions, 1,500 comments, and 621 reposts. If that's not proof that this conversation is in the moment, I don't know what is. So on behalf of Age Equity Alliance, whose team and board members are committed to workplace age equity, we send a huge heartfelt thanks to Tom and other influencers like him who are helping to break the cultural stereotypes around age and aging in the workplace. This Week in the News is sponsored by Age Equity Alliance, a Texas-based 501c3 working globally with progressive companies to competitively attract, develop, and retain talent across the age spectrum. If your company wants to understand more about how Age Equity Alliance can support your talent sustainability goals, email me, sheila.callahan@ageequityalliance.org. You can follow Age Equity Alliance on LinkedIn, listen to our podcasts on Spotify, or visit the website at ageequityalliance.org.